I think I got out most of the thoughts which I needed to in the first two, as far as just some of the stuff I've been seeing. Um, I've seen some horrendous stuff from both sides. I've seen people literally calling for genocide on both sides, and that's horrible. Um, I also see that many people who are in this camp of Israel just needs to keep going and keep going and keep going. Well, let's factor in that probably, and these are rough numbers, you guys can go in and look this up yourself. From about 2008 till about now, it's probably easily 10 to 1 of Palestinians which have lost their life. I mean, it's probably very easily something like 10,000 to 100,000. That's just from 2008 up to now. Remember what I said. For those people who are upset about the 1,300, think since 2008, they probably lost about 100,000 people at the hands of Israel. And now they're talking about, and now I don't know if it'll happen because Netanyahu seems to be kind of backing down a little bit and getting a little bit nervous. But if he decides to go in after Biden leaves, just keep in mind that if Hamas wants them to come in, and I'm perfectly fine with this, military versus military, that's the way it should go. I don't like all this bombing from afar and bombing civilians and using the excuse to, well, they're hiding with the civilians. Cut it out. You can go inside there, and you guys have the troops. You guys have a military. All that. This is not how you do things. And I had this debate with a Zionist a couple years back, and I know this will probably tick some people off when I say this, but I'm just going to say this. There's no one who can tell me that they are safer. There's no Israeli that can tell me that they are safer in Israel than they are somewhere else. My theory to why the ground war has been held up is because I think people who actually understand strategy have been kind of talking to them, and also the pushback from the Arab world. Um, I do believe that like Iran has been upset for quite a while, and they've been looking for a time for an actual retaliation from Israel's part in the assassination of Qasem Soleimani. I said when that happened years ago that was something that at some point in time Iran is going to want payback from that. When they raised the black flag not that long ago, I heard reports that over 2 million Iranians volunteered to fight in a war possibly against Israel. Now, Israel goes into Gaza. They don't know exactly what's waiting for them. And times they went in there before, it didn't work out very well for them. They send in those troops and they run into some of the traps which I feel that they're going to run into. Um, and you have not Hamas, but Hezbollah, with over 100,000 troops waiting to come in from the north. And I know there are two carrier battle groups there. There's Marine amphibious units sitting there with about 2,000 troops. 2,000, and granted, I'm former Navy. I mean, I've been around a lot of like the type of people, and I didn't have some kind of desk job. I had a combat job myself, so I understand and know the capabilities of our military definitely. Um, 2,000 versus 100,000 is never good odds, and you already have Hamas who's there. You have Hezbollah who's willing to join. You have people who are going to come out of Syria. You have over 2 million Iranians sitting there waiting also. And Iran is not by itself anymore. Iran also has backing from Russia. Russia, and now, just recently, the new news, they're teaming up with China and giving support. And so, very easily, this situation, if it keeps going on the trajectory it's going, it can spiral completely out of control. And I don't know, it's just a weird coincidence. I remember with what's his name, over in Ukraine, Zelensky. Zelensky was basically arguing, trying to get everybody involved into it also, and the same thing. Bibi is trying to do the same thing, as if people think that a world war is a good idea. And for Americans especially, I want to say this to you all, because you're sitting off to the side and we haven't had to deal with anything on American soil. And so therefore Americans feel comfortable feeling we can just send our troops over there and nothing's going to happen here. I warned you against that feeling and that thinking. And what needs to happen is cooler heads need to prevail, and a ceasefire is what you all should be asking for. Now, I'll give full disclaimer. I believe in biblical prophecy, so I believe it's coming, and I want the Lord's will to be done, whatever the Lord's will is, whatever He decides. Forget me or forget what anybody else thinks. I believe in biblical prophecy, and it's not about whatever I might feel. I don't believe in the Bible because it's what I feel, and I'm not a person who believes that I can dictate what the God of the universe is going to do. I believe in Him, so therefore I follow, and it is His will. And so for all those people, especially here on TikTok, I hear a lot of people who question, I just want the death of all religions and all that stuff like that. Well, I think you're wrong in what you think is going on, and maybe for everybody else's sake, maybe you hope that I'm wrong. But my beliefs is we're heading towards this precipice anyway, and anybody who's egging things on, maybe prophecy doesn't happen right away, maybe it happens later on down the road, but at the rate we're going, all of the things which it talks about at the very end of that book, which a lot of Christians are very scared of, are getting closer and closer to happening. And if everybody is so hell-bent on rushing into all this, we're going to see these different things come about. Keep in mind, we have what the U.S. has going on with China. You have the Russia-Ukraine thing. You have the neocons have been begging to get in Iran forever. We have this whole Israel-Hamas thing going on. And so there are a lot of different plates which are cooking right now and raising the temperature in the world. And if cooler heads don't prevail, those things are going to happen. So I know a lot of you atheists on here, maybe you guys should be out there pushing as hard as you can for ceasefire. But I don't want for innocent death. That's not what I want for. I want for ultimate peace, and sadly I feel it's gonna take for us to go through a lot of this hell on earth to get to that peace and to be shown the right path. So hopefully all the things that I've had to say have made some sense to some people. Any questions you guys have, of course, I will answer from my perspective and my views. And of course, you don't have to agree with me at all. I'm not here for people to agree with me. I'm just giving a perspective. You can disagree with me. And if you have anything you want to add, please do.